Alrighty, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We have three people on the show today. I am back. I was off doing some work stuff last week, and then today we have BucksRealm joining us. We're very, very excited, especially if you are on X. If you follow BucksRealm on X, there's a lot of great stuff coming from him as far as the Milwaukee Bucks are concerned. So we're going to hit the intro, and we're going to start talking Bucks.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so here we are. We got BucksRealm on the show. We're very excited to have him on the show. So, BR, I'll give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself and let us know what you're up to, and we'll start talking some Bucks.
Yeah, let's do it. I like the intro, guys. That very nice intro. I gotta say, I've seen it, in previous videos, but it feels nice to be a part of it. Yeah, hello everyone. It's good to meet you guys. BucksRealm over on X. Feel free to check us out. As the boys mentioned, we are a Bucks page, news, content, and beyond. Just happy to be here, talk some Bucks. It's been quite an exciting off season, and we'll get to a bunch of different talking points here today, and just happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Taylor, welcome back. So, the biggest piece of Milwaukee Bucks news that we wanted to start with is we have to talk about Miles Turner. So I want to know your reaction to and how you view the fit for Miles Turner on the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, well, listen, I've had a pretty good grip on, this offseason and prior as to what moves I thought or anticipated or had some sort of wherewithal that Horst and company were in the process of making and figuring out. And this move, of course, came out of nowhere. I was driving back home and or to work, I should say, and it caught me off guard. I don't think any of us saw this coming. And I've been on record saying many times before that John Horst, amongst a few other GMs, he is a guy who works in the shadows. He does not like to disclose a lot of information, especially at a transactional level. He keeps everything really close to his chest. We saw that with the Dame move a couple years ago. And it was shocking to see the initial fallout from that trade, obviously seeing it go down on Twitter. And then the second thought as to, first thought is, wow, Miles Turner's a Buck. And the second thought is what's going out for him. And not a lot of people at the time foresaw the Dame news coming. I remember having a conversation with my dad shortly after I gave him a call and sort of hinted at what I thought would be some sort of move for Dame. So I was less caught off guard in the secondary move from the Turner transaction than most. But, just before I get into Turner quickly, I just want to give my flowers to Damian Lillard. He came into a very tough situation 2 years ago. It's no secret that he didn't necessarily want to be in Milwaukee. Wasn't a slight at Milwaukee specifically. Rather, he had destinations that he preferred. Of course, Miami being at the top of the list. And again, speaking to Horst, who sort of grabbed him out of nowhere, he came here and was dealing with a ton of off the court issues, family, a divorce, being away from his kids. He's always been a family man from the very start. And, despite conflicting reports from all these big national media outlets over the past 2 years that he's unhappy here, X, Y, and Z, he gave this team everything. And, seeing how it ended, especially for him to likely rush back after that blood clot injury and the calf strain and to see it end the way it did, I feel terrible for him. And, I wish him nothing but the best for his career. I'd love to see him, get to the top at some point with another franchise, hopefully not Boston.
Right. We're a strong proponent of athletes being people. So we definitely talked about like how off the court stuff can affect you personally and can affect your on the court play. As far as the Miles Turner and Damian Lillard thing kind of relates to Giannis, which we'll get to in a second. I just want to say, like you mentioned, horse moves in the shadows. I wrote in my notes that horse moves in the shadows at night. Like, just because the general public had no idea that last, 2 Tuesdays ago was going to mean that the Bucks were getting Miles Turner and waving, stretching Damian Lillard, just because we didn't know that was happening doesn't mean that nobody knew it was happening, up to and
Correct.
including Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then we get, the one report that says Damian Lillard is pissed or that Giannis is pissed that Dame is out. And then we get another report from Shams like a half an hour later saying that Giannis has been in contact with Miles Turner over the last 24 hours, recruiting him to play in Milwaukee, and they wanted to play together. So I just wanted to throw
Yeah.
out there that just because everybody doesn't know doesn't mean that nobody knows.
No, that's a salient point. I think, just going back to the original question before we sort of hop into that dynamic, just in terms of Miles Turner's fit, looking at where we are today, he fits flawlessly into this team. I mean, I've loved Miles's game forever. I mean, on my page, I started about a year and a half, 2 years ago, as much as myself, you both, I'm sure, and the rest of Milwaukee and beyond hates Indiana. I have respected Miles from afar for a long time. This guy's been on the trading block for a decade, and obviously not at the capacity of a Giannis, all world accomplished player. But I've seen parallels in the sense of how people have tried to push Giannis out of Milwaukee for 10 years. And, Miles kept his head down throughout. Also, again, speaking about these guys as people, he seems like a great dude. I saw something that, I was in some sort of discourse on Twitter, and somebody mentioned something that sort of struck a chord with me about Giannis sort of missing this quirky, carefree energy around him that you had from a Drew Holiday and a Chris Middleton. And when those guys left, and you bring in a Dame is as cool as they get, right? Like he's NBA's 75 guy. He's built up this lore about him, and I think bringing in someone like Miles, who's sort of that carefree, laid back guy next to Giannis, I think the chemistry will build quickly off the court, and then on the court, his ability to stretch the floor. I mean, he's led the league in blocks in the 2020s.
Yep.
He's done it in 61 fewer games than Gobert, who's in second. I mean, he's been a rim protector at the same level as Brook Lopez, of course, now getting a lot younger and more dynamic. So I think he fits into this team great.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. When they did the Miles Turner intro press conference, greetings from Greece and Milwaukee. Welcome back. The intro with John Horst and Miles Turner, and John Horst saying, you looked at the ways in which we could potentially get to that, adding Miles Turner to the roster, and truly take our team and retool it, rethink it, modernize our style of play, impact Giannis and his development and his growth as a playmaker, and the way that Doc put him in positions at the end of the season in the playoffs. That, to me, when you talk about the way that the Bucks played after the Dame injury, and then the way that they are now so much younger, and thanks to you, you put out a great stat about the way that the Bucks, like how much younger they've gotten just in the moves that they've made to this point, and I still think there's an opportunity for them to get a little bit younger even still. But the Bucks want to play the way that they played in the second half of March and April, which is fast, with Giannis having the ball in his hands a ton and everybody playing off of that. And in my mind, and I've said this before, I've said it with Jake a ton of times, I've wanted Miles Turner for years. And the way that I saw it was that there was a 1, 2, 3 of the best floor spacing bigs with defense that you could put next to Giannis. Brook Lopez was always number 3 on that list for me. Miles Turner was always number 2 on that list for me. And the only guy that you could put next to Giannis that would be better in terms of floor spacing and defense in my mind is Anthony Davis. And that's just not realistic. So for me, Miles Turner has always been the best option for somebody that you could put next to Giannis. And the way that they talk about him, he's 8 years younger than Brook Lopez. He is significantly faster, more athletic. You just mentioned more impactful at the rim defensively. I mean, the fit is, like you said, flawless.
It really is. And, you hear the introductory reports and then we get Doc and Horst and Miles standing or sitting together at the summer league and sort of giving that introductory press conference. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure if you guys knew this. That was the first press conference, intro official team sponsored press conference that the team has had in at least 8 years. They didn't have one for Dame. They did have the parade, but for whatever reason, this team hasn't done that for a free agent in nearly a decade. Didn't do it for Drew. So it was interesting to see the reception. And I think it was a marketing tactic, first and foremost, just to start to build some buzz around this guy.
Yeah.
For those who haven't got a chance to watch that summer league introductory presser, it was about 20 minutes long, but it was awesome to see those three up there. Really A+ media work from all three of them. I it's great to have him here, and the fit really is flawless. These guys harped on it many times, and of course, you're gonna have your GM and your coach giving flowers and saying all the right things. But the more you look at it on both sides of the ball, he really is the perfect center. And even today, in that same article I referenced earlier, with the Athletic and Eric Name, Horst has made it clear to Name, and there's been talks about it in previous years, but he's been looking at Turner for years. So.
Interesting. You know what? Now that you brought that up about they haven't introduced a guy, I'm like, dude, they haven't introduced a guy. I didn't even think about that until you brought that up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it's
true.
strange. I'm not sure
It
why,
is.
but here
Huh.
we are today. And I think to your point about, if I may shift into the Giannis,
Yep.
having the ball more in his hands
Yeah, go ahead.
discussion. Last year we saw that four-man lineup, with Gary and AJ and shooters around him. There were a lot of minutes where they had actually KPJ, Gary, and AJ around him.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the on-off minutes were great, even defensively, which is somewhat surprising.
Mhm.
We saw a big leap from AJ Green on the defensive side of the ball. He's willing to sit in the chair, as the kids say, and really, hang his hat on that end. And I would hope that we see sort of that small ball lineup a lot this year. I think Giannis will have this revitalization of having the ball in his hands even more than he does now. He's hovered around like a 35% usage rate over the past 6 or 7 seasons, and I would not be surprised if that number jumps up to 38, 39,
Yeah.
akin to like a Luka Doncic in
Yep.
Dallas, where the ball is in his hands all the time. And, you know, Doc put it very bluntly, but it's something that it's so true. I mean, he mentioned, when your best player is bringing up the ball and your best player has the ball in his hands more, good things tend to happen. And that's true. This the modern NBA can get heliocentric at times. We saw it probably earliest on from the Harden-led Rockets with D'Antoni, where I mean,
Mhm.
it seemed Harden had the ball in his hands 47 freaking minutes a night.
They
Yeah.
Um,
definitely did.
the difference now in the modern era from guys like Luca, we saw it with LeBron a bit in Cleveland,
Mhm.
is these guys are such great playmakers, and a part of Giannis's game that's so underrated and has been for years is his playmaking and his ability to draw in people, obviously going downhill full speed, 48 minutes a game, and closing in a defense. And you put shooters around him, and you put guys who are now willing to get out and transition around him, and it makes this team a lot more dynamic.
Yeah.
So what do you think this means for Giannis off the court?
In what sense?
Adding Miles Turner and releasing Dame, and then just the other moves that they've made. We'll ask another question as far as the guys they've kept, but as far as Miles Turner and Damian Lillard, what do you think that means for Giannis off the court? I mean, it's kind of something that Horst and Peter Fagan have talked about a little bit, but
Yeah, I think I don't think I know Giannis and Dame had a really good relationship, even predating, Dame's time in Milwaukee. Those two have always had admiration for each other, and I think playing with each other was, exciting for the two of them. I've put out a bunch of stats on the page about Dame and Giannis, primarily on the offensive end of people look at these two and the 2 years they spent in Milwaukee, and of course it ended in a very strange way. But the narrative and the ongoing narrative, and the sad truth is it will continue to be this narrative, is that these two could never really figure it out. And there's some truth to that. But looking back at the output on that offensive end, I mean, they did things scoring wise, usage wise, efficiency wise that few duos have done in league history. And I've had Dame actually interact with the page a couple times recently, just sort of helping push that agenda, which was great to see even after he left Milwaukee. So I think, back to your question, those two have had a great relationship from the start. Um, I do not think Giannis was aware of the impending Dame wave when he was talking to Miles and when those initial conversations were happening. I do believe, and you'd be ignorant to think otherwise, that he was not made aware before we were, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. So the next question, we're going to talk about people that we did keep on the roster. We're talking Gary Trent Jr., who is a guy that I've always wanted. So little backstory. Tyler always wanted Miles Turner. I always wanted Gary Trent Jr. I was watching him. I was like, dude, this guy's a perfect fit next to Giannis. He just catches the ball and shoots the damn thing. That's what we need. And then we kept Gary, Kevin Porter Jr., Prince, Bobby, Rollins, and you can add, I'm blanking on his name.
Jericho.
Yesterday.
Jericho Sims, yep.
So how are we feeling about all the people that we kept around Giannis? What's the temperature on the team now?
Yeah, some of the deals that Horst was able to pull off, namely Gary, to get him at that price point.
Gary's a real one for that.
I mean, it almost feels disingenuous to Gary. He knew signing that contract, these guys aren't oblivious. They all have agents. They all have, very good representation at this level. And he knew, I'm sure, he could get more money elsewhere. Probably could have bartered with the front office to get more money here. But for, whatever reason, one reason or another, playing around 34, you say it on paper that playing around a guy like that is attractive to people, but people want to win. And, Gary spent a lot of years in Portland where he didn't have that.
And Toronto.
And Toronto. Yep. He's been in a lot of dysfunctional situations, and part of me was concerned after the Dame fallout about Gary. I've been harping on the Bucks finding a way to bring him back from the very start. And I actually never had any concern that he'd be moved. But, he and Dame have been close. And after the Dame fallout, those first concerns started to happen. But bringing him back at that price point especially is huge. Rollins as well. KPJ. I just sort of thinking about starting lineups. I've seen sort of back and forth on guys wanting KPJ to start, guys thinking Rollins is ready to take that next step. I'm curious as to what you guys think. For me, it's I envision, I like throwing Rollins out there with the starting unit. Give me Rollins, Gary. There's two. What do I expect Doc to do? Rollins, Gary, Kuz, Giannis, Turner. What would I like to see to start the season and just buy into this young pace transition, model what the Pacers and other young teams have done, like in OKC, is run that, new era small ball lineup with Rollins, Gary, see if AJ Green can hold his own at the three, and Giannis and Turner in the front court, and maximize the spacing around them. I think bringing Kuzma in off the bench is something that this team should look at. And of course, the Kuzma conversation, we could be here for hours, but he'll start Kuzma to begin the season, and Kuzma will be on this roster to begin the season. And we'll see how it goes from there.
I want to get nuts with the starting lineup, to be honest with you. And it's a lineup that I'm sure they'll use. I don't think it's ever going to be a lineup that they start with, but I want to start Giannis at point guard. So I want to do Giannis, Gary, AJ, Bobby, and Turner. Because I like the idea of Jericho Sims being the backup center. I like the athleticism that he presents and the switchability on defense that he presents. So I don't think you have to use Bobby Portis as the backup center. I think you can trust Jericho Sims as the backup center, and Bobby Portis can be a point forward, and Giannis, or not a point forward, a power forward, and Giannis can be the point guard, quote unquote, point guard, and then you put two shooters with them.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a look at that as well. I think I think, listen, even us having this discussion is an indicator of Horst internally and externally, now bringing in a guy like Cole Anthony,
Yep.
giving you the ability to be dynamic and to have options and to look at this roster, whether it's 9 men, 10 men, 11 men. Typically Doc Rivers led rotations haven't gone past that 11, 10, 11 mark previously. But, when I look at this roster, I see 12 guys who could get rotational minutes. And I'm hoping that, again, I hate to give fucking Indiana flowers, but looking at seeing a team like that run 12, 13 guys in the regular
Yep.
season, and
Yep.
OKC as well, I mentioned,
OKC as well. Yep.
there's a reason come playoffs, these guys are fresh. There's chemistry built. Each guy is playing valuable minutes with another guy. Even, those 11th and 12th men are getting minutes among starters, albeit in short spurts. There's a reason why those minutes, rear their head in the playoffs. These teams, have sort of gone away from the model of having the big three, the super team, whatever you want to call it, and just building a young and dynamic roster around a star being Giannis. I think there's a lot of ways this team can get creative.
I think the Thunder and the Pacers are the best examples of having basically 2 stars and then a ton of depth with them. Both of those teams, 2 stars and tons of depth. And I think, like you just said, we're moving out of the big three era, which does, if you can get behind that, it does soften the blow of losing Drew Holiday, losing Damian Lillard, losing Chris Middleton. I mean, if you look at it that way of having, the Bucks are going to have Giannis and Miles Turner, and then tons of guys that fit around them.
Yep. And Miles Turner might not fit into that quote unquote star category as of today. But I mean, you look back at guys like Middleton, Holiday. Holiday never made an all-star, all-defensive team until he got to Milwaukee. The same goes for Brook. Brook was a different player in Brooklyn, but he came to Milwaukee and around Giannis, they were able to maximize his efforts on both ends of the ball. I mean, Eric Bledsoe made an all-defensive team while playing with Giannis, and no shade to Bled. I love Bled. But, there's a reason why guys have come in to this system around 34 and been able to play to their strengths. And with a fit as seamless as Miles on paper, I would not be surprised whatsoever if Miles makes an all-defensive team this year. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if in the coming years he gets an all-star bid.
It would not shock me at all. Brett Usher actually put the question out on Twitter of who's a player you're buying stock in. And I'm like, right now is the time to buy stock in Miles Turner. He's about to have the most spacing offensively that he's ever had in his entire career. And defensively, he's about to have the best weak side help defender that has probably ever played.
Yep.
So Taylor said, I'm hoping Sears does well and gets minutes. Sears is probably going to play a shit ton of minutes in Oshkosh this year.
Yep.
He certainly will. Mark was awesome at Bama. I mean, I'm not the biggest college basketball head, but, he's been there for a while and played some really important games in the tournament. And here's the truth, if he's 6'4", I mean, he's getting drafted probably at, late into the first round. He's just undersized. It's not for a lack of scoring ability. It's not for a lack of, shot creation. The guy can ball. I mean, that much is very clear. But he's undersized. And historically we've seen, especially now, I mean, think of off the top of your head, undersized guards who can get to their own and create shots, sort of that mold of like a Kyrie, Chris Paul in his prime. If you want to go back that far, like those guys are kind of few and far between these days. A lot of these engines of these offenses, these guards, these point guards who can create for themselves are bigger these days. And that's what Sears was at Alabama. So, it'll be interesting to see if he can translate it to the next level, but it won't be for a lack of game because he has game.
Yeah. Got a comment. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Steve, welcome. Said, these days, Greek basketball fans are very happy because Michael Jordan and Giannis are here with several Bucks players. Also, an acquaintance of mine from Sepolia who knows Giannis well told me that Giannis will be with the Bucks for many years. hoping that's true. And like we've said, John Horst seems to be doing everything in his power to keep him. And Jake, we were talking about it before the show about Peter Fagan's comments
That
in
was the
Vegas.
funniest thing ever, dude. Funniest thing ever, dude. I was geeking for like 20 minutes.
Peter Fagan talking during the Bucks Summer League games and basically saying that the Bucks laugh internally at the amount of external chatter as far as it relates to Giannis. BR, I'm sure you've seen that as well. Do you have anything you want to throw out there on those comments?
Sorry, I had a work text outside of my Bucks work. No, I saw the Fagan comments, and I even in the presser, sort of Horst and Doc mentioned the same thing, discussing the narrative outside of Milwaukee, and Horst let out a pretty solid grin that made me chuckle. Giannis loves Milwaukee, and Milwaukee loves Giannis. And I think, again, to our point earlier, this team has proven, for better or for worse, that uh, they're willing to lay it all out there and make moves as they feel are necessary to maximize his time here. And that's clear to Giannis. And we're lucky to have a guy like that in town. But I think he feels lucky to be part of an organization that um, wants to build around him and wants to continue to keep him at the forefront and find a way to win with him. It's a great relationship, and the symbiosis that those two parties have had from the start has just been awesome to see.
Yeah, I think my initial reaction, I literally was like crying, laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, dude, he's not messing around anymore. He's literally just gonna lay the hammer on these dudes' heads and be like, stop talking about Giannis. He's not leaving." And that was the funniest thing for me. So you talk about Giannis. He's a big guy. We talked about another big guy, Miles Turner, who we're bringing in. We brought Bobby Portis back, and we've been talking about depth, how this team has really built a lot of depth. And the guy that we forget about sometimes is Tyler Smith. He's looked pretty good, in my opinion. He's still got to work on his corner jumper a little bit. If he gets the corner jumper down, he's going to really get some minutes. But what kind of role do you see Tyler Smith having next year, if any?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Tyler Smith agenda, if you want to call it, on both sides has been overblown. I think we see, and part of that I'm at fault for. We see these off-season workouts of Tyler in the gym, and the guy can't miss, and his ability to handle the ball at that size and that age is super impressive. And then on the other end of it, these first couple summer league games, the shot hasn't been falling. He's been able to get to his spots. The 3-point numbers have been, I think he's like 1 for 16. It's been bad. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it, but
Mm-hmm.
people overblow that side of the coin too, that he's not ready to get minutes. His game isn't NBA ready. And I think, it lies somewhere in between. I think Tyler, his skill set is something that this team could use more than anyone. He could be that quote unquote X factor if he's able to even play 7, 8 quality minutes a night during the regular season. He is only 20 years old, and I think people are forgetting that at times.
Yeah.
And it's worth us remembering that Doc doesn't play young guys. It's blown up in his face at times in previous stints, even before Milwaukee. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles Smith, but I actually put out a report very early that I had heard from people that I talked to in and around the team, that they were looking at, Smith playing more minutes at the 3 as opposed to the 4.
It's so exciting. That's so fun. That's so fun to play with.
It is, and Smith is, he's 6'11", 6'9" to 6'11", depending on different reports. I mean, the way they measure these guys today, it's hard to even freaking know how
Yeah.
tall these guys are. But
He's tall.
he's tall and he's young, and
Yep.
his skill set is dynamic. And I think if you are able to give him quality minutes at the 3 in short spurts, I think it helps this team tremendously.
Yeah, that's fun to play around with. But we're going to let you go. We're going to let you get off to the rest of your Milwaukee Bucks dealings that you have. But we really appreciate you taking the time to hop on with us. Like I said, we love the way that you act on Twitter. I mean, you have great input and output as far as the Milwaukee Bucks are concerned. So anybody that's on Twitter, X, definitely follow BucksRealm, and hopefully this is the first of many times we have you on the show.
Yeah, guys, again, I appreciate you having me, and would definitely love to be back. I think it's a super exciting season we have here, and I'll leave in saying I don't think it's far-fetched by any stretch of the word for this team to win as many games as they did last year, if not more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think people, are having issues and hesitancies and getting to that headspace, and I think that with the roster in front of us today, which it's certainly possible we could see more changes. I think this team has gotten younger, faster, more dynamic, and there's a reason that Giannis will come back refreshed from Greece and be excited for this next year. We should be too.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right. Well said. And like I said, we'll be in touch, and then hopefully we have you back soon. And thanks for hopping on with us. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Be well.
Have a good one, man.
Oh,
Hey,
awesome.
Giannis isn't focused on basketball last night. Did you see his last TikTok, bro?
Dude, he needs to chill. He's like, he's talking about baby number 5, and it's
He
like,
said one-on-one, babe.
He's
One-on-one, babe.
he's gonna have a whole starting lineup of kids, is what I said.
He was going nuts. I was like, what is going on with this dude, bro? He's going crazy.
It was cool to have BucksRealm on, and
Yeah, man.
like I said, hopefully it's the first of many times that we have him on with us, and we can get more time with him. But we want to always make sure that we're respectful of our guests' time. So he had 30 minutes to spend with us. He even took like an extra minute or so just to say things that we agree and we believe as well, that the Bucks roster looks a lot different, but that's not a bad thing.
No.
So exciting times.
I have lots of thoughts on the Bucks. We're gonna have our time and we can give our thoughts out too. But I really love that we were able to give him a floor to not just type some stuff out. Again, BucksRealm is a great account. He puts a lot of great stats. So if you guys are really looking to, learn some stuff, learn some stats. If you're a stat number nerd like we are with sports, he's a great account to follow. This is our first time talking to him, so he seemed super down to earth, super nice. So I'm pretty pleased with that relationship that we're building with him, and I hope that we're able to get him on a few times during the season as well. But I love that I feel like he already has the same mindset as us.
Mm-hmm.
Where like he's positive, but like he can also be optimistic and realistic at the same time, which is something that we've been doing for a couple of years now. So I'm just really happy about the relationship that we're building with hm and stuff. So
he's got, he's not going to be, outwards and being saying, like, oh yeah, I'm tight with Thanasis and that's how I know stuff, but he's got legit connections to the team. Like, it's not, I'm not saying that he's, got Giannis on speed dial or anything, but I would say he's just as reliable as anybody else who's claiming to have quote unquote league sources, which has just become a phrase that just pisses me off every time I see it. But Steve said the media influences perception, and it absolutely does. And we've talked about the 4-letter network that we've lost so much respect for over the last 5 to 10 years. The perception was the Bucks would be better with Dame over Drew. Not the case. Now the Bucks are supposed to be worse without Dame, despite adding Miles Turner. I mean, the only media perception that you really need to see is the fact that media is saying that the Bucks were desperate to add Miles Turner, but the Lakers are somehow contenders for adding DeAndre Ayton.
Dude, DeAndre Ayton's not even in Miles Turner's league.
And there you have it. LA makes good moves. The Bucks make desperate moves. There you go. That's BucksRealm's first podcast appearance. We actually reached out and asked if he had considered doing any podcasting, and he said right now he's just doing Twitter. So we are the first podcast that he has appeared on. And yes, he is very articulate in his delivery. His content is fantastic on Twitter. Like we said, stats, questions, comments, discussion on the team. He does a really good job of reading articles and then putting out snippets of them and giving his thoughts on those snippets. Like, really, really even just beyond good content. It's aspirational type content for us. Like, it makes us want to step our game up.
Yeah.
So
honestly, and having relationships with people like that carry themselves like that makes me feel good.
Yeah, those are the type of people that we want to be associated with.
Yeah, it makes me feel like we're in that class too, where because we're trying to put out the same kind of content where we give people good information but entertaining at the same time. So,
and
I'm
quality.
really happy right now. And for his first podcast, he did fantastic. I'm sure by now he's had a couple minutes to take a breather, and the adrenaline's kind
He
of
sent me a message already, so I'll read it when we're done. But
oh, you messaged already?
He did. Yep, he did. The
Fantastic.
first part of the message says, "Thanks again, guys. Wish I didn't have to rush back to the desk job." So that's just the first part of the message. So he's for sure going to be back, and maybe it's a Friday night and we just talk for 2 hours about the Bucks.
Dude, I could have honestly talked for a couple hours about the Bucks.
We talked about probably half the things that we wanted to talk to them about.
I had so many thoughts, but
I have stats and stuff written down about guys. There's tons more conversation for us to have about the Milwaukee Bucks.
For sure.
But it's also the middle of July, which means we have baseball games to talk about. We only have 3 baseball games to talk about today because the All-Star game was last night, and we got to see Misiorowski and Trevor Megill pitch scoreless innings last night, which is cool. And Freddy Peralta was there in attendance. He wasn't pitching because he pitched Sunday, which we'll talk about that game. And then the Brewers are coming back from the All-Star break on Friday. So we only have 3 games to talk about, starting with Game 1 against the Nationals on Friday night. So, Jake, what did you take away from Game 1 on Friday?
Well, you go into this game on a hot streak, and you're looking at the Cubs right above you, and you're like, we are coming. We are here, and you're not going to get rid of us for the rest of the season. And we're playing the Nationals team that obviously is – the Nationals are a weird team. They have some good young players. You're like,
somebody on Twitter said that. Like, how are the Nationals bad? They have good players.
Yeah, like Abrams is pretty good.
I love CJ Abrams.
James Wood is a pretty good player. They have some pretty good pitching, but it's like they have a couple pitchers, but it's like they're in like a weird spot where like they're still shit, but like they shouldn't be as shit as they are. They should be more closer to 500 in my opinion. But
the Nationals are like the little brother to the Marlins, but also the Nationals are the team that the White Sox wishes they were.
That's actually, I don't hate that. They got some good players.
Like a nesting doll of really trash baseball teams.
Yeah, I'm like looking at their lineup. I'm like, it's really not that bad, dude. But anyways, just a fantastic job by Murph and the rest of the coaching staff to go with a lefty starter in DL Hall with all the lefties that they have in their lineup. DL Hall, he was shoving. He looked pretty good in my opinion. Also, I think this would have been a spot that maybe they would have used Aaron Ashby in, but Aaron Ashby was on paternity leave. Yep. You don't really hear that too much, but I applaud him, dude, because I love my kids a lot. I would probably do the same thing if I was in his shoes, to be there to support my wife or my girlfriend, because that's crazy to give birth. Yeah. It's still mind-boggling.
I'm not going to completely disagree with you, but we've also seen them use DL Hall in front of Quinn Priester 3 other times.
Yeah, that's true. I just think that the way that Ashby's been throwing the ball, dude, he is like literally unstoppable right now.
Just leave him in the bullpen.
Leave
him there. Leave him there.
Monster.
It ain't broke. Don't fix it. Like, I understand he wants to be a starter, but dude, at this point, like Josh Hader, just accept the reality. Like, you are a dominant bullpen option.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I said last week when I was doing a show by myself, kind of stumbling over my own words at times, that the Brewers could literally make another starting 5 of pitchers. I 100% believe that when I say that they could have 2 starting 5s, which is insane.
They could.
The depth that they have built in this starting rotation. But DL Hall carried 3 innings, gave up 2 hits, earned run, did have the 2 walks. Dude, they are going crazy lately. Just wait till we get to the last game. They had 2 Ks, and then Quinn Priester, he looked good again. I mean, you can't argue with the results that Quinn Priester's been putting up lately. He's giving you quality innings. He's eating up 6. I mean, the Hall Priester, the marriage, I guess I'll call it.
Pairing.
I should call it tandem. Tandem's a better word.
Tandem's a good word.
The Hall Priester tandem has been elite for the Brewers, dude. Let's
throw this out there.
Throw it out there, dude. I mean, it's just been so good. Quinn Priester's been absolutely rock solid. DL Hall has been very good. He's had a little bit of control issues from time to time, but he's been very good for what they're asking him to do.
And shout out to Beal Hall for accepting that role, not pulling an Aaron Solali.
I guess something we don't talk about now, you just brought that up. You just brought another thought in my brain. We don't really applaud a lot of these guys for the maturity that they handle some of the things they're asked to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that needs to be talked about a little bit more is, for them to attack different roles. And the Brewers are constantly asking guys, and this is not just pitchers. They're asking position players to try different stuff. The maturity in which these guys go and be professionals and go about their business, and then to be successful at it, really speaks to the success of this organization over the last 7 years. And
there's one other guy that I want to give so much credit to, but it's during Game 3, so I'm going to hold on to it. But DL Hall, yes, and Quinn Priester.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to talk about, some of these guys that are just contributing on a daily basis. I mean, people are not talking enough about Christian Yelich this season. And I saw the post that you put out on the page, and that was a beautiful post. People are not talking enough about him. If there was a comeback player of the year in baseball, he would 1,000% win it. Contreras, he's starting to hit the ball a little bit. Maybe that thumb is going to start healing up a little bit.
Yep.
That's an area where people are not considering. People keep talking about we need to trade for a bat. Dude, we haven't had William Contreras be William Contreras that we have known for the last 2 years, not including this year. The last 2 years prior to this, he was a stud.
So Silver Slugger.
Absolutely the best catcher in baseball, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, Cal Raleigh is probably going to take that title this season. But, I mean, William Contreras can still be up there with the top 5 guys. He was throwing guys out right and left to start this season, playing great defense. I've talked a bunch of times. You've talked a bunch of times about how he controls the pitching staff. And if he starts getting the hitting going, the Brewers are absolutely going to be a fucking problem, dude. If they're not now, if they get William Contreras getting the Silver Slugger version, it's over, dude. It is fucking over.
If he starts getting back to consistently putting doubles in the right center gap.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And he had 2 in this game.
Back-to-back innings.
Yeah. 3rd and 4th inning, he had his 15th and 16th double of the year, both of them for RBIs. Collins also had a double, his 12th of the year. I apologize. Durbin had a double, his 15th of the year. Collins got his 10th steal of the year in this game. He's the 15th player to have a steal on the Brewers. 15 different players have a steal. That's insane to me. Collins, with his 10th steal, is also the 5th Brewer to hit the double-digit mark, which is also insane to me. In the 3rd inning, they had the 2 doubles. They scored 6 runs in that inning. They scored 8 runs total in this game. They had 2 doubles. Frelick and Chourio had singles. Chourio with his 58th RBI. He had a 2-run single, and Frelick with his 38th RBI. And then Yelly hit home run number 19 right after Chourio had a 2-run RBI to hit a 2-run homer. So, I mean, it's just – they were just adding on runs. The 3rd inning was just one of those innings where everybody that went to the plate was going to get a hit, and we were going to score a run. We were just trading places, dude.
Let me jump in on that because we talked about this a lot the last week and the 2 weeks ago. The bottom of the order helping out a lot as they have lately. Like Durbin, the double, Joey Ortiz to have a bloop single to get on for the top of the order, and then Sal's single, William Contreras' double, and Jackson Churrio's single. All 3 of those were opposite field hits.
Yeah.
And the Brewers put together 5 straight hits. 3 of those 5 were with 2 strikes. And then Christian Yelich's 19th homer, like you mentioned, made it 6 straight hits for the Brewers in that inning.
Just dogging the Nationals.
Dude, that's where they keep talking about it. Like the relentless nature of the team, the consistent nature of grinding at bats. Like Pat Murphy talks about it, like there's not any one thing that he would put on, the team. Like they're not a big home run team. They're a very good defensive team and they're a very good pitching team. But the word that he used for what best describes them pre-All-Star break was compete.
They're also a really good base running team, which people don't take into consideration enough. Going from 1st to 3rd is a big deal on a single.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a guy that much closer where you can just hit a sac fly and you can get a run.
Yeah.
And then obviously the threat of all the people that they make bunt. I mean, and we're not really fans of bunting. I'm a little bit more lenient than Tyler is. Tyler is like hell no. Unless it's a situation
out on purpose, just go straight to the dugout.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from. And I agree with like 95% of it. But just that threat of that with the Bryce Terangs and the Sal Freliks and how fast they are, the speed factor is just God. The Brewers are a fun team. Yeah. Honestly, these last couple of days, not being able to watch them has really fucking sucked, dude.
It's been kind of boring.
I'm like, dude,
all right, I'm ready for the Brewers to be back.
I'm like, dude, I gotta wait till Friday night at 9 o'clock, dude. Jesus Christ. But this game was pretty clean, honestly. The Brewers did a really nice job. The Nationals jumped ahead 1-0, then the Brewers laid 6 on them in the bottom of the third inning, and then after that, it was pretty much just business as usual.
Yep. So DL Hall, he allowed the first 2 guys to reach, and then he had 2 nasty strikeouts to end the first inning. The first one was on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and the second one was on a huge bending curveball that him and Ashby must be competing to see who can throw the curveball that starts the highest and ends the lowest. The 2 of them have just huge, nasty curveballs, and then Hall throws 96 and Ashby throws 97, 98. So, good luck with that, buddies. He did walk the number 9 hitter later in the game, and it bit him on RBI triple by Abrams, but good job for him to get out of that with only allowing the 1 run. He pitched the 3 innings, the 1 run. Quinn Priester comes in, immediately gets a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts. He pitches the final 6 innings, and the Brewers only used 2 pitchers the day after an off day. That is Pat Murphy. Obviously, the coaching staff is part of that. Like we talk about Chris Hook being a very respected member of the Brewers coaching staff, and Jim Henderson as well. But Pat Murphy making the call to use DL Hall as the starter, for him to not just go an inning or 2 innings, to go 3 innings and piggyback Quinn Priester, who gets to go 6 innings after that because you pitch him with a lead. That's fantastic work. Taylor mentioned Nasty Nestor is coming back soon.
He's going to get traded.
I was just going to say maybe.
He's getting traded. 100%. If they're getting rid of a starting pitcher, yeah.
Yeah. And I would rather trade Nestor Cortez than Jose Quintana at this point.
Oh, 1,000%. I would love Jose Quintana in a playoff game over Nestor Cortez.
Yes, I agree with you. Okay. And then we talked about the big inning, and we talked about William Contreras. So moving into game 2, we get Brandon Woodruff's first game back, and you get the weird his last game that he pitched was at the Marlins, and the second last game that he pitched was home against the Nationals, and now his first game back was at the Nationals, and his second game back was home against the Marlins. So it's kind of just one of those baseball things, that happens. And it's really cool to see. He had 2 strikeouts in the first inning. He had a 3-2 count with 2 outs, gave up a solo home run that bounced off the top of the wall, barely. And he had 7 strikeouts through 3 innings pitched. Top of the inning, he did give up another solo home run. The 2-out solo home run that he gave out in the 4th inning was much more well hit. But all in all, he threw 81 pitches. So it seems that this first outing, they wanted him around 70 pitches. His second outing, they wanted him around 80. And he pitched, I think he threw 81 or 82 pitches. So they were pretty strict on where he was with his pitch count. But I have nothing but good things to say about Brandon Woodruff. He threw 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 10.
Yeah.
So he recorded 13 outs, and 10 of them were strikeouts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's insane efficiency. The command is there. Absolutely. He hit 95 a couple times, but it seems like he's still going to be kind of around that 93-mile-an-hour range with his fastball. But his location is pinpoint accurate. So we just need him to build up his conditioning a little bit, similar to when Quintana came back from his injury, and mid to late August, Brandon Woodruff's going to be ready to roar. And then September, it's Woody time.
Dude, the Brewers pitching staff is going to be a fucking problem in September. And I got 2 things that I wanted to say about Woodruff real quick. One, I was shocked about the amount of strikeouts. I don't know if I'm the only Brewers fan that was, but then I took a step back and I was like, am I being disrespectful to Woodruff by saying I'm shocked by the amount of strikeouts?
Dude, 10 out of 13 outs being K's is nuts.
It's crazy, right? His second start back after being out for a few years.
I would have been happy with 6.
Me too. All of a sudden, he's at 10. You're just like, excuse me?
And he's only the 3rd Brewer to reach 10 strikeouts this season.
Right. And the other thing I wanted to say is when they were interviewing his wife during the game, it made me choke up a little bit because we don't – oh, God, I'm getting goosebumps again. We don't get to be there when they're struggling. And this is why we talk the way we talk, and we defend players about when people are just being shitty to them online. Yep. You're not there through their struggle. We don't know the amount of hours that Brandon Woodruff was grinding and the surgeries and the over and overs and, and Woodruff, he talked about, and he was getting pretty emotional talking about being back in Milwaukee and signing with the Brewers and not wanting to leave. And it just, all of this situation just, for me personally, I'm not going to talk for anybody else. It feels right. It feels like Woodruff needs to be here. It would have felt weird if he wasn't here. And like the way that his wife was talking about how hard he worked, man, it just it makes it hard not to cheer for that guy,
You want him here.
That's God, I really do have goosebumps in my legs, dude. But like honestly, I'm just really happy for Woodruff, the person, man.
Yeah. Good call. So the Brewers got their first run on a frozen rope hit over James Wood's head. He did misplay it a little bit, but Andrew Vaughn coming up after that makes it 5 for 5 by driving in runs. Like just a crazy start to his Brewers tenure. His first game with the Sounds, he hits a grand slam. First game with the Brewers, hits a home run, and now he's just driving in runs like crazy.
Dude, he is freaking barreling. His barrel percentage has to be like 100% with the Brewers because he's going nuts.
Yeah, it's got to be nuts. Jared Koenig came in for Woodruff, immediately picked off the one inherited runner that he left. Nick Mears made a really nice play to end the 6th inning on a tapper versus a pretty fast runner, so good job by Nick Mears. Abner Uribe got squeezed by the home plate umpire again, and I'm sick of that shit happening, and extended the inning and led to a 2-run home run. So that 2-run home run, it's conceivable that it shouldn't have happened. But unfortunately it did, but please give us the AAA challenge rule. I don't need to go so far as to say robo-umps, but we need the AAA challenge rule.
Yeah.
It needs to be here.
Agreed.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Top of the 9th, Nationals get an added insurance run after the first 2 reached versus Grant Anderson. Bottom of the 9th versus Kyle Finnegan, a guy that I would say is a pretty good closer. I actually wanted to trade for him previously. He was an all-star in 2024. Jackson Chourio gets a first pitch infield single. Christian Yelich drew his second walk on the game on 4 pitches, which brought Andrew Vaughn back to the plate. And the first pitch, he hits a gapper to right center to tie the game. You get to see Jackson Chourio flying around the bases. You get to see Christian Yelich gliding around the bases. He doesn't fly around the bases. He glides around the bases.
Dude looks like he's walking on water. Dead ass.
He's so smooth.
Yeah.
And I understand that Javier Baez is really good, but I'm going to say, from our perspective, that Christian Yelich is the best base runner in baseball.
He's definitely in the conversation of top 3, no matter who you're a team of.
Yeah. So, after that, Andre Monasterio comes in to run for Andrew Vaughn, and this is where you were talking about guys who accept their roles, and they need credit for that. Andre Monasterio could be at the top of the list. He could be number 1 on that list, and I would not disagree with you. We've talked about him for 2 years, about how he comes to the ballpark with joy, and he wears it on his face, and that alone is reason enough to love him.
Hell yeah.
But for him to play 1 out of every 3 days and to not even be starting some of those days, to come in the bottom of the 9th inning in a tie game and to recognize that on an infield tapper ground out by Jake Bauers, that the shortstop did not go to cover third base and taking off and getting that 90 feet.
Yep.
That is such a locked-in heads-up play that cannot be understated. How impressed I am by Andre Monasterio being that locked into a game to come into the bottom of the 9th and just recognize that and take off for third base. He's been watching a baseball game all day. And then to be that locked in, to come in and recognize, hey, CJ Abrams didn't go cover short, so I'm taking off.
See, that's also to my point of how good they are at base running, dude.
Valid. Wes said he doesn't flinch. I'm assuming you mean Andrew Vaughn, because
dude,
he's awesome.
Who is this guy, bro?
Yeah.
All of Chicago hated this guy.
We posted that video too because Brian Anderson called that amazing.
Honestly, it's funnier that he's successful in Wisconsin because it just makes Chicago hate him more, which is so good for me, dude. So good.
Yeah. That's just an added bonus of that. And then Caleb Durbin on the second pitch that he saw delivered a walk-off single. So Kyle Finnegan, 2024 All-Star, threw 10 pitches. 7 of them, the Brewers did damage.
Yeah.
If you factor in Christian Yelich's 4-pitch walk, that's 4 pitches that led to 90 feet. But 10 pitches, 7 of them brought good things for the Brewers. So last thing I'll say, Caleb Durbin is the first rookie since 1971 to have 3 walk-offs before the All-Star break. Love that for him. Another rookie, just another guy who was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Trade. The Brewers traded a closer, got a starter, and they got a third baseman prospect. And here he is walking off games and playing good defense for us.
You know, I actually wrote down something about Durbin. One of the main takeaways I was going to say is you're going through this Milwaukee Brewers lineup, and you know there's going to be moments where the Brewers are going to be on ESPN and stuff in the playoffs, right? Yeah. I feel pretty confident they're going to be in the playoffs at this point. It's not a guarantee, but I feel pretty good about it. There's going to be moments in the playoffs where it's going to be Churio coming to the plate, and people are going to be like, "Oh shit, we don't want this guy hitting." Yelich is going to come to the plate. Oh God, we don't want to pitch to this guy. You're going to get to the Contrerases and the Hoskins and all the big names, right? And the guy they need to be fucking scared of is fucking Caleb Durbin, bro, because he's been the clutch one, dude. I'm laughing. I could not believe. First of all, I could not believe they came back. The 2-run homer in the 8th, obviously, I was just like, oh shit, man. Like,
yeah,
we can score 1 run. I mean, we're gonna have 6 outs, score 1 run. The Brewers have done plenty of times this year. Try to tie this game. They scored the run in the top of the 9th, and I was just like, oh boy. That run in the top of the 9th, I did like and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be tough now. For them to come back from that, this
against a good pitcher,
most impressive win. But to me, that shows a lot of mental toughness that this team has.
Yeah,
to be able to come back in that situation, that's insane to me. Obviously, I gave my thoughts on Woodruff. You covered a lot of the pitching. Really wanted to harp on this team is another example of how many ways this team can win. It's incredible the amount of ways. I don't have enough digits. I can't grow extra fingers, can't grow extra toes. I can't count any more things on the ways that this team can get things done. They have big innings. They can score late. They can score a ton early. They can beat you with pitching and defense. They're gonna steal bags. They're gonna do it all, dude. And they're starting to play really, really good at home, and they're playing really good on the road right now. So,
and they're getting
sky's the limit for this team. That the Cubs Brewer series. There's 2 Cubs Brewer series that are gonna happen in the second half of this season. Those are gonna be bangers, dude. The Cubs are still good. Don't get me wrong. They don't have the pitching that the Brewers do. They play very good defense, but they can hit the damn ball.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like a classic clash like they used to have in football where it was like the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense clash. That's what I feel like with the Brewers and the Cubs, where the Cubs are a really powerful offense and the Brewers are built on defense and we took it out the mud. We got a lot of character to us. Like, it's going to be really interesting how that plays out. But that game 2 win to win the series, it sucked that the Cubs won the last 2 games of the Yankees. Yeah. I was having a lot of fun on Friday night talking a lot of shit to Yankees fans. With the Yankees fans against the Yankees fans. I never thought I would say the word talking shit with Yankees fans, so that's why I messed up. But it was nice to have the series win going into the Sunday game.
Yeah. So what stood out to you from Game 3?
Well, first of all, Jackson Churio starting to see the ball pretty fucking good. Starting to see the ball. The ball's growing. It's about grapefruit size right now, I would say. He's going to get to that point like he did last year where all of a sudden it looks like a beach ball again. And Yelich is still hitting the ball well. He's still seeing the ball well. But we've had moments in this season where Hoskins was carrying the offense. Then it was Yelly. And I feel like now the baton is being passed to Jackson Churio. People can double check me on this next week or the week after, but it really feels like he's going to be the next one in line to kind of carry the offense and go on a disgusting stretch right now.
Shit, I mean, he's got 16 home runs.
Dude, he does, and he's over. What is he over now? Like he's at like 60 RBIs now, right? Or 50,
something like that.
50.
But
60.
I mean, he's very, very, very likely going to be in the mid-20s for homers.
Yeah, and he'll get close to 100 RBIs, and he's playing a different position.
And he's 21.
And he's 21 years old. That is so sick, dude. And he's here for the next 9 years.
Yeah,
including this year, obviously. But it's going to be a lot of fun, man. But we got to start this conversation with Freddy Peralta. Freddy Peralta with his 11th win, which leads all NL starters, by the way.
Yep.
If you didn't
tied
know
for
that.
the league lead.
He went 6 2/3. He had 6 innings, no hit. He was absolutely dealing, looking like an all-star, and it was like, this guy's fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
All the people that were talking all that shit last year about he's not an ace. We got to trade Freddie. Why would they re-sign him? All this stuff. I saw a lot of crazy stuff. They better be apologizing every single day when Freddy Peralta is on the mound and being like, I'm sorry, Freddie. I did not mean to disrespect you. Because Freddy Peralta is an ace. He is absolutely all of that. We have a guy, Misiorowski, in a couple of years who's going to be an ace. We have a guy, Brandon Woodruff, who may be on the down spiral of his career, but he's still got ace potential, ace stuff.
Former ace.
Command.
Former ace. Jose Quintana is an ace, too.
And dude, we had a game this year where freaking Quinn Priester was dominating, and I was like, Jesus Christ, is this guy going to be an ace?
He's the first guy to reach double-digit strikeouts for the Brewers this year.
I was like, what are we doing here? But Freddy Peralta was disgusting. 7 strikeouts, only 1 walk for him.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Wes said Freddie's balling this year, but the biggest thing out of him pitching 6 2/3, only giving up 1 run, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yep, because you know Freddie, if he's getting a swing and miss on that fastball, he can mix in the changeup or the curveball if he has to. He's going to get strikeouts.
So reliable for him.
It has. It's damn near probably his second best pitch if you really think about it. Grant Anderson gave a good inning, and Jared King only came in through 3 pitches, got an out. So that's efficiency right there. That's what I like to see out of my pitchers in the bullpen. And then because the Brewers just decided to slap a couple home runs over the fence, Churio, and they went back-to-back with Bryce Terang. Bryce Terang, dude, and they were talking about it, and you've been talking about it for a couple of years, and then I kind of piggybacked off you. He's got sneaky power, dude.
He's got sneaky power.
Dude, when he gets a hold of a baseball.
You're going to be like, shit, Bryce Terang hit 14 home runs? Damn.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I feel that way about Frelick, too. Frelick's a little bit different because he has to barrel it up. Where, like, Bryce Terang can muscle a baseball over the wall, I feel like.
Sal Frelick has 7 home runs.
I know, dude. He might end up with, like, 12. We're going to be like, what the hell's going on around here?
He hit 2 last year.
That's insane.
3 if you include the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask if you I was going to ask you off camera. I'm just going to ask you now. Did you hear anything on his injury, by the way?
Yes, he has a hamstring strain.
Okay.
But he's day-to-day. So
okay.
That's where we're at with Sal Frelick. He was pulled in the top of 3rd after making a really great sliding catch in foul territory. Mm-hmm. Somebody was saying that it looked like he said he was having cramping. But they were also saying that he looked kind of uncomfortable as he was running the bases in the bottom of the 2nd inning as well. So Sal plays hard. You can't tell Sal Frelick to not play hard because he's not going to listen to you. So that's kind of where we're at. They said that he's day-to-day. So, I mean, it doesn't seem to be anything long-term, but they're going to see if he's day-to-day to see if they want to put him on the injured list or not. But hopefully we get good news on that on Friday and that he just misses, maybe Friday's game, maybe Saturday, and then he's back on Sunday, or if they just give him the Dodgers series off. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say on Game 3?
One more point, and then I'm just going to give you the floor. Congratulations to Sigler on his first career MLB RBI. That was a really good moment in the game. You just feel happy for people when they're living their dream and they succeed, man. Honestly, for both teams, like if it's an opposing team and it happens against us, you don't feel as good, but you're still like, man, that guy's been working his entire life for this moment, dude. And I could be walked into a situation where I just be happy for people because it's awesome, man.
So we get to a point in the bottom of the 2nd inning. The Brewers get a couple infield singles, a walk, and Andre Monasterio and Eric Haas are on base. and they are batting in place of Caleb Durbin and Andrew Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting the days off.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, my God, what is this lineup? Pat Murphy's a terrorist. And it's like, those three combine with 2 outs to score 2 runs. Patrick Murphy's good at his fucking job.
Yeah, he might just be the manager of the year. I don't know.
And people act like it was a fluke. This is now the second year in a row where the Brewers are far exceeding their expectations.
Yep.
Last year they were projected to win 72 and a half games. This year it was like 80, and they're at 56 right now.
Yeah, most in team history at the All-Star break, by the way.
And they've played a lot of games, but we talked about it. You listen to us. We talked about it. April and May. We said we got to get through April and May. Boom. Last 50 games, Brewers are 35 and 15, best record in baseball.
That's disgusting, by the way. 35 and 15 is gross.
And people think it's inconceivable that they go 41 and 25 in the second half and win a franchise record 97 games. It's like they're 16 games over 500 in the first half when they played through a shit ton of injuries and used like 12 different starting pitchers in 1 month.
Yeah.
And you think they can't go 15 games over in the second half or 16 games over in the second half as they get healthy and possibly out of bat?
Yeah.
So all of that, in addition to the 3 All-Stars that they had, Brewers playing good defense. Bryce Terang made a nice defensive play to end the 7th inning. The top of the 8th inning, you mentioned Grant Anderson allowed the first runner to reach, and then he got a ground ball, and Bryce Terang and Joey Ortiz turned a beautiful double play on the leadoff hitter, which is tough because that dude flies. And then you mentioned all the hits that happened in the bottom of the 8th inning. But for me, it popped out. It's like, oh, this is the last time the Brewers are playing offense before they have a week off. So their last offense, they go Contreras single, Yelich infield single, Jackson Chourio 3-run home run, and a Bryce Terang home run for their last time that they're going to bat before a week off.
Pretty good.
I'll take that. So keep an eye out on the page. We're going to post some more stats tomorrow and Friday before the second half, quote-unquote second half, more like second 40%. Gets ramping up, and we're going to put some more stats out on that like we did with Christian Yelich on Monday. Other than that, we want to thank BucksRealm again for joining us. The Milwaukee Brewers will be in LA from Friday through Sunday, Monday and Tuesday in Seattle. Wednesday, Jake and I still got to talk and figure out exactly how we're going to handle that because the Brewers would be playing during when we normally start. So we're going to still figure that out. But other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you next week. And until then, go Brewers, and we'll see you next week.